Hello, the internet. My name's Laura, and this is The Law of the Prince Charming, Chapter 17.3. Tabitha paces across the room, unable to will her feet to be still. She has shifted into her white knight armor, the pristine cape hanging down behind her. She grips her sword's hilt, watching the glow of the others in the room. They are all strong, showing the powerful laws at play. Right now, she has no idea if that's a good thing or bad. Wildrose pulls a card from his deck box. Everyone gather around quickly. I'm going to cast a spell that will let us communicate with each other. The card flares, and the wind from the card wisps out, circling each of their heads. Just focus any words you want us to all hear into the spell. The archer nods. We're going to go scout. Keep an eye on the dragon. The archer and the summoner go out the door. My lady, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself earlier, the huntsman says, offering his hand to the sleeping beauty with a bow. Enough of his burns are healed to let him move smoothly. It's fine, you were injured. The sleeping beauty sets her hand on his. I am the Black Huntsman, and I would just like to tell you that I'm not interested in you romantically. He kisses the back of her hand. Well, I would hope not, the sleeping beauty says. You're still doing that speech? The lioness laughs. The huntsman glares at her. If you'll come with me, my lady. The huntsman motions the sleeping beauty toward the door. And you could probably use some replenishment, Wildrose says to Tabitha. He holds out a hellhound tooth, a wyvern scale, and the stone ram horn that they had gotten in prison. It feels like a lifetime ago now. Tabitha accepts them with a slight smile. You've done well with the wyvern, considering you only absorbed it on accident, and sorry, no living flame. Tabitha closes her hand over the stone ram and feels its laws settle inside her in the place that had felt so empty. Only now did she realize how much she had missed the feeling of its rigid strength. Thank you. She doesn't look up as she absorbs the other two remnants. She doesn't want to see his eyes. I wish I had time to make some cards. Wildrose moves to his workstation, but I can't imagine the dragon will stay down much longer. Tabitha leans over the map of the storybook. She can see the dragon's dot, as well as the numerous sleepwalkers. She can also see the archer and the summoner's dots moving slowly from cover to cover to get a better layout of the soon-to-be battlefield. She is still in disbelief that everyone had stayed, but she is more upset about how relieved she feels that they have. She paces away from the storybook, her cape fluttering behind her. Wildrose reaches out and grabs her arm as she passes. Your pacing is making me tense. Guess I'm feeling a little nervous. Tabitha glances down at his hand on her arm. That's understandable, Wildrose says, but don't use up all your energy before we get out there. Tabitha feels him move away and catches his hand with hers. Did you need something else? Would you hold my hand? What? Tabitha squeezes his hand, feeling the warmth there, just for a little while. Wildrose closes his hand over hers with a slight smile. He blinks and looks past her. Silver, what did you do? A truth spell, and I loosened the lie she had herself bound up in. The lioness is stretched out by the doorway. She lifts her head to look at them. It was quite tangled. It took a while. You had no right, Wildrose says. At least this way something would happen. The lioness lays her head back on her front talons. You two are so intractable. What's going on? Tabitha asks. I've encouraged you to tell the truth, and it's going well so far. Truth? Tabitha realized she's holding Wildrose's hand. They're holding hands, and he hasn't pulled away. Yes, the truth, the lioness purrs. You told him that you wanted him to hold your hand. So, Rose, why don't you tell the prince what you've been lying about? Wildrose grips the feather around his neck. I don't lie. No, griffins don't lie, but you're a human. You've lied to yourself quite well since I've been gone. Tabitha cups Wildrose's hand with her other one. Will you tell me? He looks down at their entwined hands and sighs. I've been pulled toward fairy tale love my whole life. When it occurred to me that you were the prince in my tale, I pushed you away reflexively, like every prince that has ever come to be part of my tale. The lioness told me you've always resisted your tale. But that's no excuse, Wildrose sighs. That's no excuse for the things I said to you. I can't forgive myself for that. That's why you kept your distance? Tabitha asks. You let me think you hated me. I don't deserve to be by your side. Lie, the lioness says. Wildrose closes his eyes with a grimace. I assumed you would never forgive me, so it was better for you to complete a quest so that you could go home. And it never occurred to you that I might have changed my mind, that I might have wanted to be a storyteller and stay with you? But after what I said, he looks up. After what you said was everything you did, Tabitha replies. You were there for me every time I needed it. You made me, for the first time in my life, feel like it was okay to let someone else help me. Tabitha feels the deep tightness in her chest, threatening to suffocate her. She tries to pull her hands from Wildrose's, but this time he holds on to her as she continues. But this was all created by the laws. All these feelings are not even real. A tear leaks from her eye. Wildrose smiles gently. We could still play the role. He reaches up and wipes the tear from her cheek. But you never wanted to let the laws dictate your life, Tabitha shakes her head. Then I choose. Wildrose leans forward. Laws be damned, I choose to love you. He kisses her. Tabitha's whole body relaxes into him. Wildrose wraps his arms around her and pulls her into his warmth. Tears carry away the tension, worry, and fear as the lie that had been holding her finishes unraveling. Well, it's about time. Tabitha breaks reluctantly from the kiss to see the huntsman in the doorway. He looks down at the lioness. You do this? I helped. Good. The huntsman looks back up. The dragon's out. We have a role to play. Tabitha looks at Wildrose. We're coming.